So maybe that's the idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you see by the dawn's early
You are
light
as precious to me as you were to your own mother and father. I swore to them that I would protect you, and I haven't.
the twilight's last gleaming?
Yeah.
We're going to do the Dark Knight Rises, aren't we? That's what we're going to talk about,
Aye.
because it's obviously the most up to date film at the minute, and because this podcast wasn't around when the others came out, we may talk about them in future episodes. But this one's like current; it's still shown in theatres, isn't it?
That's the one.
So, in terms of third in the trilogy, I think we can safely say that I think Nolan's broke the trilogy curse of comic book movies, hasn't he?
Yeah, I, well, I mean, I was looking forward to seeing The Dark Knight Rises, obviously, ever since it was announced that he was going to do the third one.
Yep.
And then, obviously, there's been little clips and videos and photos and behind the set pictures being taken, and I think it just built the hype up and that. I thought the marketing campaign, again, typical Nolan style, excellent. And then watching the film, I can't really pick a fault with it, to be honest with you. I mean, there's a few little things, but on the whole, probably
Well, can we just say before?
I can't really say it's better than the Avengers because it's a totally different type of film, but definitely one of my favourite films, Dark Knight Rises. Absolutely amazing.
I think before we go into the plot, we'll just say that we are going to spoil. We're going to talk about the plot, and I would stop listening to this now because we're going to talk about plot points, aren't we?
Yeah, and all I'm going to say is if you haven't seen the film yet, get yourself to the cinema and watch it.
Exactly, you fucking losers. Where have you been fucking living? You know what I mean? Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, I think you're right. I mean, the build-up. I mean, to be honest with you, like you say, you can't compare it to the Avengers. But I do overall prefer it to the Avengers. I mean, I was, nearly jizzing in my pants watching the Avengers. It was so good. But then I still had more anticipation for The Dark Knight, even though there's two things I've always wanted to see in the films since being a kid. Venom in a Spider-Man film as a villain, which was totally spoiled, and hopefully they'll stick him in again.
I was about to say, totally ruined in Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, exactly. And I also wanted to see the Avengers in a comic book film, which I never thought would happen, and Marvel have honestly made it work really well.
Obviously, they've been laying foundations for that film for years, and it's just obviously lived up to all the hype, hasn't it?
Well, that's the thing. It did live up to the hype. I mean, there was so much riding on this. If that flopped, some of the films I've only had one film so far won't get a sequel, or if one of them films flopped, the Avengers might not be well received. I mean, everything worked, and the Avengers, I think it was better than what I thought.
Yeah.
But then again, The Dark Knight again. So even though that was my childhood dream and it finally got made, I was still more looking forward to The Dark Knight Rises, just because of what Nolan did with the other two. I mean, the man is a fucking genius. You know what I mean?
And I think that the casting of obviously Tom Hardy as Bane, I can't think of another person who I'd have played Bane, if I'm being honest. And the fact that if you didn't know it was Tom Hardy, I mean, you wouldn't know it was Tom. If you didn't know it was Tom Hardy, you wouldn't know.
I don't think you can tell just by his eyes. I can't tell.
No, you can't.
No.
But yeah, I think obviously the character of Bane, one of the Batman's biggest enemies, especially intellectual strength wise.
I think the only thing I was surprised at was the English accent. I mean, I loved it, and I loved his voice and stuff, but I just didn't expect that. I mean, he wasn't exactly English in the comics, and that doesn't matter. I mean, Nolan's taken a lot of liberties with things that would piss most comic book fans off, something rotten. And I know Heath Ledger was, shot down when the first picture was released until they saw him, and then everyone just shut up. Goodbye, sit down. He's a genius. And then
Yeah,
obviously Bane picture was everyone, oh, you can see his eyes and oh, he's not that big, and it was like, no, in Nolan's universe he's spot on. Leave him alone. Just take it as you see it. Don't make comments when you haven't seen the film. Nolan knows what he's doing, and he
exactly.
does.
I mean, even though it's a comic book film, Nolan makes it more realistic.
Yeah.
And obviously that's why I think that fit perfectly. Now, Bane, the Bane voice didn't bother me. I mean,
No.
I could understand everything he said. I thought, like I say, I cannot pick fault with Tom Hardy playing Bane. And I don't know if you noticed, though, obviously, when they showed the prologue in December in front of Mission Impossible,
They have changed it, haven't
they've changed. Well, they've obviously upscaled his voice.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't really make out what he was saying in the prologue before.
Yeah.
And I was half expecting it, and then when it came in, and then his voice was like really loud, and that, I was like, oh, thank God for that.
I read some criticisms though that, I mean, I don't know if I agree or not. I don't think I do. They said that was one of the faults that some of the critics had with the film was they still thought it was like 9, 10 out of 10, and they still thought it was a brilliant end of a trilogy and whatnot. But they did say that with his voice, it sounded like it was dubbed in, and everybody else sounded like they were really there in the film, and he wasn't. But you don't know what type of mask it was, though. Yeah, but you don't know what type of mask it was. I mean, they never said. Nolan does like to leave a lot to your imagination, doesn't he?
Oh well, yeah. No. As I say, I think the voice was pretty good, and I hear that you're pretty good at doing the Bane voice, Paul. Is that correct?
Well, I've only got my girlfriend's word on that, because what happened was, right, we were coming out of a cinema, because I went to see it with my girlfriend first, and then my mates wanted to see it, and they said they were going to go and see it before I saw it with my girlfriend. I says, well, I'm going, and she was like, you can't do that, Paul. I was like, what do you mean? She says, we've already arranged. I says, darling, I love you and everything, but it's every man for his fucking self. It's The Dark Knight Rises. Whoever takes us to see it first, I'm going, right? There's no loyalty here. And she was like, bloody hell, I can't believe you. And I was like, well, whatever. Anyway, what happened was, in the end, she ended up getting the tickets on the Thursday night, and we went to see it. And when I was coming out, I was chuffed with his voice, like we've just been saying. And then I just walked out, and I just went, let the games begin. And this little kid just turned around and just looked at us. And like you saw it, and she went, God, you sounded so much like him. I was like, I don't know if I do or not, because I can't hear my own voice. And then, I like the bits, and he was going, what a lovely voice. He was being nice, even though he's a big brute. But all the speeches that you've, said that he says out the film, I don't know if I could do that. I can't even remember half of it.
I can do the what's his first line? What's the let's have a look. Perhaps he's wondering where someone would shoot a man before throwing him out of a plane.
That's better than mine. How did you get that fucking echo? Did you just put your palm over your mouth?
I've got like a cup.
Oh, that's why. That's cheating, because you do sound like him. But yeah, the echo was better than mine. Obviously, I just went like that with my hands. So,
you have to do the breathing as well.
Yeah, I think that's part of the distortion and the effect of it, isn't it?
It's like half Sean Connery, half Darth Vader, and then you've sort of got Bane.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I mean, apparently he worked heavily with Nolan. I think he come up with a lot of it himself.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes it doesn't matter how good you are as a director. You've got to let the actors just do their own thing, haven't you?
Yeah. Nobody cared who I was before I put on the mask.
Oh, that's good, aye. Yeah, I like that. I think you've won that one, So, let's talk about the plot then, right? Because, what I read in an interview, because I mean, I don't know why, but I just had it in the back of my head that they would at least acknowledge the Joker, and maybe even have Batman walk down Arkham Asylum and you just see someone's green hair from the back. So in the universe, he's still captured and he hasn't escaped. Because I do believe he would have been in the sequel. I think we would have had 2 Batman films with the Joker. But
Heath Ledger, yeah.
Yeah, but I think he said it was in bad taste, and I mean, Dent was used as the main plot point to link it into The Dark Knight, and I think I think I do agree with it now. Now I've heard it from Nolan saying that, Bane will always be compared to the villain in The Dark Knight Rises, because obviously he was so good, even though he's totally different and even though he's brilliant on his own, you still do. One of the main reasons why you like The Dark Knight is because of Heath.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I was a little bit disappointed with the Two-Face in The Dark Knight.
Right.
I don't think he got long enough in the film, and there was rumours about him being in the third film, and I think you're right. Obviously, the third film would have had the Joker in.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's so much going on in The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
The fact that Joker isn't in it isn't a factor for me.
No.
Obviously, like I said near the beginning, that they're all three different stories. But again, I loved the fact that it's kept it so quiet, and Cillian Murphy was in it again. That was brilliant for me.
No, it was brilliant. I mean, he had a really weird, dark, funny, but yet twisted part, though, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, he didn't explain how he got out of prison or anything. Well,
No.
I don't know if he got caught, because, well, he did. He got caught off Batman in the beginning of The Dark Knight, didn't he?
Yeah.
But a lot of people said the explanation for the Joker was, and I can't remember this in the film, maybe you can, something was mentioned about Blackgate Prison having some of the inmates from Arkham, because Arkham was closed down because of Dr. Crane's experiments. So that might be an explanation of where the Joker resides. He's still in custody and he's just in Blackgate Prison instead of Arkham. But I can't remember anyone mentioning Blackgate, can you?
Yeah, they broke out of Blackgate, didn't they?
All right, well there you go then.
You know when Bane did the big speech in front of the
City Hall,
and that's when he read out that it was Two-Face who did all the killings and not Batman, because he had he had Gordon's piece of paper, didn't he?
Yeah.
That was in front of Blackgate Prison, and that's when they blew the doors and all the prisoners came out.
Right, so that's what they're hinting at, then he was in there. So, I mean, I suppose even though it never showed you, I suppose he's on the loose again then, in Nolan's world. So, yeah. So, but, I mean, this was more of a sequel, I thought, in terms of this was a sequel to The Dark Knight, more than The Dark Knight was a sequel to...
It was a sequel to Bat to Begins, yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
Because I think, a lot of people said, like, obviously, Gotham was bigger and brighter in The Dark Knight, and then the same in The Dark Knight Rises, but you've got to remember, when Batman first, turned up in Gotham, it was run down and smoky and grungy and that, so it looks like The Dark Knight's just a little bit further on where him and Gordon's work starting to make a difference.
The thing is, Begins was mainly set in the Narrows, wasn't it?
Mm.
So that's what that part of obviously the Nolan universe was.
Yeah.
And then Dark Knight was set in like the main part of Gotham, and then Rises is Gotham and all over the place really. But what do you think to the Miranda Tate character?
Well, when there were set pictures and it showed you set pictures, they said that she was going to be Ra's al Ghul's daughter. And then one thing I love about Nolan is he makes the actors come to his basement, read the script, and they can't leave without it, so nothing ever gets out.
Yeah.
Unless someone actually sees the film and tells you.
Well, the last 10 minutes of the film.
Yeah.
There was only certain people who knew about the last 10 minutes of the film.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah. So to be honest with you, the thing is, because it's the last one, anything goes. Now, I hate it when they kill the villains off, and I'm pleased Nolan never did. Apart from, I'm guessing Bane's pretty dead, because Catwoman blew him away with a fucking massive gun on the Batpod.
But he was never... No one's ever actually said he's dead.
Oh, no.
Again, that's just Nolan leaving it to your...
Well, exactly. So